Good morning, people. Welcome to United View. Happy Wednesday morning. Hope you guys are good. Welcome to your mate. It's Manchester United news and goings-ons. And there's a lot. As per usual, there's never a day of rest at Man United. We've had a lot of, significantly bad situations recently, with players, etc., and investigations and all of that stuff, which is obviously bad. We did have the situation last week now with the Glazers potentially. According to who was that at the time? The Mail, wasn't it? The Mail went with an exclusive saying that the club had been taken off of the market, and now a week later, and even a couple of days after that, but Mike Keegan has come to fruition. Ben Jacobs has been talking from the Mail, where we literally said that's his employers, but we're going to get into that. But basically, what we're going to be talking about today is Manchester United's worst ever day on the stock market, just to show you how bad things are, and in reaction to reports where it spikes and goes up and down, which always happens, and the fact that United is still for sale, according to the Mail, who basically did a piece last week saying that it wasn't, and others as well. So we're going to get into that. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, let us know where you're watching from, and get involved. I will just open up before Owen goes into the facts. Already, it's like, I don't know, mate. Last week we were like, well, there's only one outlet saying this, and it's Mike Keegan's. That's weird. Wonder who's going to come out and speak against this. Then it's Mike Keegan from the Mail. Like, I don't know, but let's get into it. It is confusing, it is annoying, but I suppose this is the news we do want to hear, that obviously the club is still for sale. So let's just get into it.
I mean, it's quite funny because when we did that stream at the time, we did say, what's the reaction of this going to be? And almost word for word, I think Flex, we pretty much got it right, which is, it's not the news I'm hearing. According to my sources, there's no significant developments. Talks are still ongoing about bridging that gap between valuations of bids. And that's pretty much what the latest news is. But to start off, as you mentioned, Mike Keegan from the Daily Mail has said that sources close to Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sheikh Jassim on Tuesday night disclosed they had not been informed that the Manchester United sale was off, while those close to the process said that nothing had changed. Insiders in both camps of Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe said they had not been informed of such a conclusion, that the sale was off or anything like that. Sources with knowledge of the process added that negotiations were continuing. Both bids for Manchester United were around the £5 billion mark, which is still some way short of the Glazers' valuation. The talks, which are facilitated by the Raine Group, are aimed at bridging what is a substantial gap. But the really interesting thing that people were waiting for was what was going to be the stock market's reaction to this. Of course, it was a bank holiday weekend for the US over the weekend, Labor Day weekend. Happy Labor Day if you're in the US. And so people were waiting to see what was going to be the stock market reaction to the news Friday. Was it Friday? Saturday, whatever it was, that this process was, off and the club was being taken off the market, etc. And the reaction was not good for Manchester United at all. In fact, the worst ever, because Matt Lawton and everyone else really from the media was suggesting that and reporting that the value of Manchester United has plummeted by more than £500 million amid growing uncertainty over the future ownership of the club. United share price on the New York Stock Exchange at one stage dropped by 21% on Tuesday. The shares closed down at 18.2%, valuing the business at $3.2 billion, which is £2.55 billion. It was the biggest fall in the stock market, or the stock price, since it went public in August 2012. The previous biggest one-day drop was on March 11, 2022, when it fell nearly 14%. So again, over sort of 4.2% higher or lower, depending on how you want to look at it, than the previous worst. So the point is, it had its worst day ever in reaction to the news that the Glazers were going to be probably sticking around or taking the club off the market, etc., etc. And then you get the reports straight afterwards or around the same time. No, talk's still ongoing, mate. It's fine. Nothing's really changed. I mean, what is even your reaction anymore? Because I'll tell you mine is, it's more of a shrug at this point, You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? I mean, for me, now I'm starting to look at things like less emotionally, right? In terms of like, so like when these types of news have been coming out, whether it's for good or for worse, right? Whether it's in the past, it was Sheikh Sheikh Jassim boost, it would be like it felt like it was a team Sheikh Jassim. Good positive news from that side. Or sometimes there'll be something which, in my opinion, I consider negative. I know a lot of you would. Sir Jim Ratcliffe boost. He's confident in this. Loads of pendulum swinging. Nothing really true. Then it'd be, extra bids going in, etc., etc. But now, the share price thing, I wanted to home in on that. Like the worst ever day. So like when you first hear it, you go, there's certain things that triggered in my mind. I was like, oh, flipping heck, see, it's crashing. They've got to sell. So it's worst point ever. How they're gonna survive this? How they're gonna recover from that. But what I've learned from covering this story, because I've been learning every week. I don't have experience in finance. We've tried to speak to some people within that world. We've spoken to journalists. We've done our best here at United View as fans to understand this mammoth of a transaction. Right. What I've learned is the manipulation of the stock market. That's what I've picked up. So we've seen situations where a bit of news has gone out and the stock price has done that. We've seen situations where news has come out and the stock price has done that. Not necessarily as low as this, point taken. But my point is that the Glazers, I don't think, will just panic now. And I've seen some people sort of say, well, see, it's as low as it's ever been. Now they're going to be scared. Now they're just going to accept a bid because they know they have to. What I've learned is the stock market just reacts off of rumors. The stock market went sky high when a bloody Qatar outlet said something
newspaper.
Like a newspaper, the son of Sheikh Jassim, apparently said something which turned out to be a lie, which Sheikh Jassim's camp even came out and said, not really true.
Remember that it was the Qatar newspaper that may or may not have been owned by his dad. That turned out it wasn't owned by his dad.
And what happened to the stock price? What happened to the stock price that day? That made everyone go
every time that, like I said, it spikes, or in these instances, you get a massive drop, as you mentioned, the biggest one ever in United's history. So it's incredibly significant. But at the same time, you then get the reaction that you always get, which is the reports that come out go, no, nothing's changed. It's talks are still ongoing.
So with these ones, with these reports that kind of calm it down, I mean, this is what I talk about stock market manipulation. Or if it's not stock market manipulation, basically it's just how the stock market works in response to rumors. And basically the Glazers won't care is what my real point is. These reports come out, they make sure everyone's quite pacified. Mike Keegan's gone quite strong, saying sources close to Qatar and Sir Jim have said, no, it is pretty much still the same. We're trying to work on it. And a lot of the reports, I think it was Matt Lawton from the Times, was saying that basically what's happening now is they're trying to work on the gap in valuation. They're trying to work on it's a huge gap. I don't know how it's not going to get filled, but they're trying to work on that as opposed to there's no sale, it's off the market. Raine Group are very much trying to work out a deal. So that information's been put out there. So then it will help stabilize the stock market. So what my point is that I'm not reading into that because the stock is at an all-time low and that slash 500 million off of the price. I don't believe that that's going to make the Glazers in 24 hours or however long that's been now go, I tell you what, we're in massive trouble. We have to slash 500 million off the asking price and the share price is a record low. Let's sell now. I don't think that sparks them into that action personally.
Well, I think also as well, I mean, they talk in the report about, the valuation of the club losing 500 million and all that kind of stuff. Realistically, though, they've had their price the whole time, £6 billion. That's what they want, isn't it? That's what they want. But they'd probably be like share price.
Apparently more, though, isn't it? Don't they want 10? Is that what
that was in a couple of years. That was in a couple of years' time, wasn't it? That was if that was that original.
Oh, they can hold
report.
out. They can stay now for a couple of years and get.
That was that original Mail report that was suggesting that they would maybe be, take it off the market now.
Oh yeah.
Then in 2 years' time they would sell it. During that period of time, Club World Cup, Saudi investment, World Cup in America, all that kind of stuff. Their prediction or projection would be they'd be able to sell it for like 8 billion or 10 billion in a few years' time. But then obviously they're saying that report's not true. So clearly their asking price is still the same, which is £6 billion. So according to Mike Keegan, the Raine Group, they must be loving it, the Raine Group at this point. I mean, talk about a contract. They thought that this was only going to be not that long. The Raine Group did the takeover of WWE, and that was literally January, the news came out about that of, oh, we're exploring strategic alternatives. It was done by April. The actual takeover is being closed, I think, next week, the merger between WWE and UFC. So Raine Group, they were like, it only took a few months. No problem. Easy. Raine Group for this, they're like a year long on retainer. Brilliant. Well, license to print cash, no problem. And then they know we're doing talks to try and bridge the gap. They're looking at that going, heck of a bridge. Oh, heck of a bridge. It's going to take ages to bridge that one. Don't worry, we've got ages left. That's still going to be bringing in money. And they'll get cut of the deal, obviously, as well, if indeed it did go through. World record deal. So, like I've said before, for me, I just find it's almost funny at this point if it wasn't so sad. But there is all of these milestones and all of these sort of deadlines, and they all get put out there, and they all pass. They like literally Easter, what was it? End just after the FA Cup, beginning of the transfer window. Now it's end of the transfer window. They all. Well, we all
said by the time the new season starts, the Glazers are 1,000,000% going to be here. Like
they all come and go. The biggest laughing one, looking back on it, is Easter.
Yeah.
By Easter it could be done. We are on Wednesday, the 6th of September. Like we're heading into autumn,
and it's not even close. And we always get like this sort of final stages talk as well. Like, all that's left now is for them to choose a preferred bidder. It's not about bidding now. It's not about showing interest.
It's not about exclusivity. Remember, there's not going to be an exclusive bidder because they're both technically exclusive.
Yeah,
and they go, which is atypical for this process. The whole process is atypical of what's going on at the moment. Oh.
It's a mess. It is a mess, and I just think essentially, and this isn't to, be negative. This is just how I see it. Like, we're no closer to knowing. I mean, when we done that reaction last week to that mail piece, in that moment, I did feel negative. And you try and say, now I'm looking back on that, I'm like, stop getting done by it. Stop. Like, you need to just feel numb. Is how I started to deal with it. I can't tell everyone what to do. Can't tell you what to do. Let me know how you lot feel, actually, when you see these reports, because some people will say it's Mike Keegan or it's the Mail, don't believe them. Look what they said last week. Because now what we're getting, and I might have to ask Mike about this actually, like, we're getting his publications go with an exclusive. When Mike's been the one who's, running with this the whole time. He's like, he should be the chief guy. That's like Sky, going with something big on a takeover, and Carve's like,
it's not what I've heard. That's that is what it's like. We said that, didn't we?
Carve's going to be like, what is this?
That information is not the information that I have heard. That exactly. Is because what I mean. And you go, that's like Darmesh and Carve going different things. We've heard different
things. It doesn't happen. Or if there is a discrepancy there, they will call it in and say, right, what's going on here? We need a line on this.
Yeah.
You're the chief reporter of that. So when we did it, we were so sure. Like, not
they must have asked Mike. They must have.
We were like, well, they're not going to come out and go against what he's, and it's exactly what they've done. Because or is it essential? Because it did take Mike Keegan till yesterday to kind of really come strong with this line. Did they say, well, you do some digging for
until
the next 5 days?
Stock market open flex?
True.
Because then someone picks up the phone. Mike, but just so you know, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Cool. Nothing's changed. Boom, 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 boom. Put it out there. And it's just, and also as well, this is how long it's been going on for. There have been so many other things that have happened at Manchester United over the last 12 months, right? Every day is a different kind of drama. I mean, United on the pitch, off the pitch, whatever. And this is just this. It's got to this point now where this has just become this sort of strange subplot. You know what I mean? That will just constantly be ongoing, and eventually you have like a day where it sort of spikes, and you get this sort of development where it's off the market, or so and so is going to win, or so and so's put a new bid in, and then you go, oh, that's weird, and then it goes away again.
It goes away.
It just goes away,
and then not just goes away, like it's gone. Like there's not even one thing. And then when something else does come back, there's something crazy that makes. Do you know what? You're right. It's like they're just playing us this whole time. I think. I don't think anybody knows.
I don't
I don't
know.
think anybody knows.
Neil Costa said just a few weeks ago, October. It's going to be done by October. Sheikh Jassim's going to be the winner. It's sorted. It's done.
Why did Neil Custis just randomly say? Why does it get to go away and they don't get to be held accountable as well? Why does that happen?
Yeah.
Do you know why? It's because football moves so fast. And you did this experiment where you put the timer, you put the Qatar flag, you say coming soon or whatever it is. And on that day, it'd be like, then if the next day you just tweet about Amrabat signing with a picture of him next to Ten Hag, what you said before is kind of just forgotten about. And I know the internet is there. Like once it's been done, people do get receipts and say stuff. But everything happens so quickly, especially at a joke club like Man United, where it's a circus right now. It is a circus. So there's so many things going on at Man United. In and amongst all the shit, people can just say mad stuff and just, are we just going to forget that Neil Custis said that the other day? I mean, technically it's not October yet, so his defense could be worse. Not October yet, mate. But are we just going to
Easter?
Yeah, exactly. Are we just going to forget, like you said, that the Mail literally said last week it's off the market? Then their chief reporter who's across is saying, no, it's not. Yeah. Like we can't. Like it's insane what's happening. Like the amount of news that's come out from this and the amount of like ups and downs. That's why I do respect people, and this is probably against what we do because of what we do, we have to do it in this way. But that's why I do respect people who do the blanket. Because I've got friends where I'm like, oh, have you heard the latest on this transfer? Or apparently we're getting this, or or they'll message me and say, Flex, who are we getting? What's going on? Because they don't give a crap about transfers or sale thing or whatever until it's an official announcement by the club that says, we've signed this guy. And he's doing that, or the club has been like they literally don't get involved in anything. And you know what? They live quite peaceful lives. Like they're not angry.
Ignorance is bliss. It is. You know what I mean? When you don't really know everything that's going on, they say ignorance is bliss when it comes to it. I don't know. I mean, I think what's even staggering at this point. I mentioned this before. Even the in the no accounts, they've given up.
I don't know.
Even they've stopped the grift. You know what I mean? Because it's too tiring at this point. So the whole Sheikh Jas funds are in escrow. It's one of my favorite ones. Funds are in escrow. They're in an escrow account and they're just waiting at this point.
Waiting to go, yeah.
Sign off next week. They're just waiting for international clearance. Documents were signed today at Raine Group's New York headquarters. Everyone goes, The problem is you can only do that tweet apparently 20 times. But there's been a long time. So now even they're going, don't know.
Yeah,
because people are like, I don't even believe it anymore. So even they've got time. That's when it's been going on too long. The in the knows have gone. I can't be bothered.
Yeah, so there's nothing to report.
As for a resolution on the timeline of this, genuinely, who knows?
Who knows? Let's get to some of the comments. A couple of super chats. Plus, let's see who's in the house. Let's see who's getting involved in the chat. Aminor says, "Why would Glazer sell with United States World Cup in 2026 and a new Champions League format?" We can talk about some of the other things. That's the next part I did want to talk about is what we do think the state of play actually is with the Glazers, because Gary Neville said some things as well, saying there's no chance of taking it off, the market. They have to sell it now, this, that, and the other. PS says, regarding the takeover, don't forget tomorrow is Thursday. Yeah, exactly. KG said tomorrow. KG's been saying Thursday for no reason for ages.
But even that is funny, isn't it? Because that joke was, people forget the origin of that joke is when it was during the Ferdinand company's house time, and his thing was, I think Thursday. That was what, at the beginning of June.
Where's the Thursday, Rio, man? Where's the Thursday?
How many Thursdays? I think there's been 10 or 11 Thursdays maybe since then.
Yeah. Minna's in the chat. Big up. She says, big up everyone. Always. Big up everyone as always. Hope you're enjoying the sunshine and not letting the club stress you. Joe Blacknam says, big up. He says, big up to John James. Wizard says there is no way United will make enough money to compete with the Champions League format. Most of the money and getting around FFP is made on the pitch. I did see Rich earlier on in the chat. Kristen, big up to you. It was great to catch up with you the other day. What game was it? It was Forest, wasn't it? I think it was. So big up to you. MWK says KG ducking his own channel. I'm no longer leaving that bell on for him. What, has he just not been on it for ages? He's just been ducking it. Oh yeah, I spoke to him yesterday during the thing, and he was like, I'm not doing it. He said, yeah. He said, I'm not doing it.
I saw him yesterday in yesterday's Flex and KG show. I mean, sometimes like this morning, I'll wake up, we'll do the 9 a.m.s, and I'll look tired. I got one of those faces that looks tired all the time.
Yeah.
KG yesterday,
Yeah, he's tired, man. I rang him earlier during the day. I was like, yeah, we're going to record the show later on. He was like, I was like, 2:00. He's like, 3. He goes, I'm just lying down. Just, yeah.
But I've done that, and it's not even like jet lag, because I've done that with him before. I've called him at like 2 or whatever, and he sounds really tired. And I'll go, "You're right, mate," blah, blah, blah. And he'll go, "Yeah, I just had a really productive day, really good so far." And I go, "Good." He was like, "Yeah, I was up at 6 and I went to the gym." And I go, "Oh, good for you, good for you." He went, and I just thought I'd close my eyes for a little bit. And then your call woke me up.
Listen,
I'm like, it's 2
that
o'clock.
guy, he can sleep. Everyone took that guy sleeps.
Oh,
bro.
my.
He
I mean, I
sleeps.
experienced that at the Football Content Awards last year. Yeah, me and KG, grumpy old men, we decided like we don't want to go out. We went back, go get some sleep, and we went to be sharing a room. Yeah, we went to be sharing a room, and he warned me. And fairness is good for him. He warned me. He said, "Look, I'm gonna go downstairs," and I went, "Okay." He went, "I went, why?" He went, "I just snore a bit." I went a bit. I went, "Oh, okay." I went, "Well, fine." So he goes downstairs. I go, my head hits the pillow. I go to sleep straight away, no problem. I woke up maybe about an hour and a half later. I thought there was construction going on outside. Yeah, because I was like, the walls were moving, like literally breathing, like. I thought, I thought like construction or some kind of creature had broken in. I thought this is one of those stories. Is there a zoo nearby? And some kind of like, I don't know, water buffalo has come into this,
it's bad.
place. I could not believe it. And then next morning, I went, KG, you snoring a bit. He went, did I?
Yeah, he doesn't know. Yeah, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. And he's got the ability to just go from conversation to sleep really quickly. That's just what he does. Big up Daniel Grace with a great comment. He says, can't watch this crap Flex talking about lying Glazers. Says the two-faced rat who used United stand to make his name and dip. Ew. So why are you here watching David Grace? Get the hell up out of here. I ain't forcing ya.
It's one of those ones, you wake up in the morning.
Grace.
You wake up in the morning, very angry. And just said, look, I need to let Flex know this morning. I've sat on it for too long. I've waited, my whole time.
David, man. I feel sorry for you. David, man, it's Wednesday morning. You obviously think you're going to have a shit day with whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So I hope you don't, bro. Just chill out, man. You know what I'm saying?
Or just maybe he's trying to said that to other people in his sort of normal life. He's got to tell you what happened with Flex United stand. They'll go, who? Because I've got to tell someone.
David Grace not acting very gracefully. The irony.
Yeah.
The irony. But back to this takeover situation, because Gary Neville he did say the other day when it was all coming through, he was like, they have to sell. There's no, I don't believe that. There's no way that they're not going to sell. Can't remember the exact tweet. Can't put it up.
Yeah, he was basically like, absolutely
saying,
no way,
no chance.
Yeah.
And Gary Neville does operate from like, sometimes like a more business point of view. Because he's a club owner himself, and he's got a lot of businesses, and he likes to talk a lot about sometimes the more business side of the game. And I suppose some of the things he says will hold a little bit of weight because of his experiences, not on this level, but his generic understanding of stuff anyway, as a club owner himself. And like, I just thought it was interesting because it's like, what do you think are the facts? Because like Aminor says, why would the Glazers sell? With the World Cup around the corner, the Champions League, basically all the things that article claimed, which they weren't hard to believe because we know how the Glazers operate. And I suppose I probably fell into the trap of, because I just know the Glazers are just money leeching, don't want to swear this early in the morning, that the things in that article, I could believe that. They wouldn't want to sell because the format's going to change. TV rights, they've got the World Cup, so more spotlight's going to be on the US. Like I could see that, but then I have to remind myself that it's the same with transfers, the same with news from the clubs. I always say, if it's something we want to hear or we can believe, we just tend to gravitate more towards that versus something that we don't believe or we don't think can be true. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's a tough one, isn't it? Because his point of view, the reason he was saying that they absolutely have to sell is the club is in such bad financial shape at the moment that it isn't sustainable for even a couple of years. Yes, we spent, it's kind of crazy. This just shows how bad we are at selling. We still had like the second highest net spend this year in the Premier League,
It's mad.
and primarily because clubs spent more than us, but we just are so bad at selling that basically our net spend is basically what we spend.
It's always higher
because we can't sell anyone to even kind of offset it a little bit. So, but that's just because, and as it's always been, that's just because that's how much Man United generate in terms of, you know, revenue and stuff left over. It's never the Glazers any of their money, and the whole reason for them putting the club up for sale in the first place is they were on the precipice of, we had to actually put money into the club. We have to service the debt, continue to service the debt, not pay it off, just again, service it, pay off the, you know, the interest and all that kind of stuff. The stadium is, I mean, have you seen all those new videos of the Bernabeu Flex? Have you seen all them?
Proper big club.
Have you seen the video of the pitch going into the ground and
don't tell me. And look at their stadium's like 100 years old as well. So don't tell. They didn't have to pick it up and move it.
And like, even Barcelona, man. Yeah, all of the sort of financial shadiness, they're doing it. They're doing it.
No, but it's because they're proper big clubs. They are. That is, you know, that is why we say Man United's the biggest club in the world, and we say probably only to Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Because they care.
They care about the history, the traditions. You know, when they go through periods of not winning, it's not good enough, and they do everything, literally everything, pull every lever, break. Not saying we should break every rule, but they literally do mad stuff to make sure that they get back on top, and that's what Barca did.
They saw Real Madrid build a stadium. They went, we need to do something. Let's do our stadium. That's what we got to do. They saw Real Madrid win the leagues and stuff like that. We got to win the league. What about your future? Who gives a shit? We'll figure it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
and like,
you're gonna get fined. Don't know. Get lawyers. We'll sort it
out.
Whatever.
We'll figure it out. I mean, that Bernabeu, honestly, I've been watching the videos on it, and I watched the game. Jude Bellingham, last minute winner, by the way, unbelievable. But like the atmosphere in there, and then the pitch going into itself, and the outside, and this is why I kind of say, you know, when people get
new restaurants inside, they've got like 5-6 new restaurants inside.
And I know people get kind of caught up a bit in tradition when it comes to it as well. But this is what I was sort of saying about Old Trafford and that Bernabeu is unrecognizable from the one that was there previously, the outside of it, right?
Yeah.
Because now it's like this, it looks like a
big dome.
Big shield, like a spaceship thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And you go, that doesn't look like the Bernabeu, but it doesn't matter. It's facilities, you know. Old Trafford, I said before, if it meant knocking it down, every brick and building it back up in that spot, you know, it is what it is. You know, football evolves, football moves on, it changes. You know, from when it was invented to now, it's completely different. Clubs evolve, club changes. I know we get caught up on tradition and stuff like that. And some are like, well, I just want it to be renovated. That's fine. But even going back to the point, the Glazers look at that and go, that's going to cost a lot of money. And that's not money that we want to put in. And frankly, it's not money that we really have. That's just one thing. That's just the stadium, let alone the training ground, let alone the academy, which is so important. Now, it's always been important, the academy. But from an FFP point of view, the academy is key. We look at City. Look what they're doing. They're bringing players through that they might have no intention of ever making the first team or playing, but they can sell them because they know that's the best academy in England or one of the best academies in the world, that they go to any club, hey, we've got an academy player, and they go, right, we'll give you 15 million, 20 million, pure profit. FFP allows you to go get other people. So you've got to invest in that. You've got to also then invest in just the other facilities around it, like with that indoor arena that they have. Was it the Co-op Arena? Right next to the Etihad as well. You've got to invest in that. You have to invest in everything.
The whole thing,
and all of that. And to be honest, even Sheikh Jassim's like pledged 1 billion probably isn't even enough for all that kind of stuff.
That's just the stadium.
1 billion can do the stadium. That's one thing. Let alone the training ground,
these
players.
Days it's probably a bit more now.
Yeah, exactly. So the point being is that, and this is Gary Neville's, I think, point when he's saying like, that's just too much to do for the Glazers to stick around. They can't. They cannot do that and sustain it even for a couple more years. But the question is how long can you really draw it out realistically? But yeah, I did watch that Bernabeu video and I just thought, fucking hell.
I know. I think I put a comment under. I just went proper big club, proper big club. That is how you run a football club. That is how you keep redefining, the football club. That is how you keep it at the pinnacle. That is how you keep it as a top brand. Not like how Man United, right? And I mean this with the most sincerity because we love Man United. How Man United is still a top club shows what a powerhouse it actually is or was. It really does, because when you look at it in its current form compared to Barcelona, compared to Bayern Munich, compared to Real Madrid, because they're the three, aren't they? You know, I know Liverpool's in there as a powerhouse, but they're not bigger than us. When you look at it compared to them, the other three I mentioned, and City are on the way up. Obviously, got a long time before they're bigger than us, but the way they're running, what they're doing. But when you just look at us compared to them other clubs, we are a million playing squad.
That's what I was going to say.
You know, like, forget the stadium and all
midfield.
that.
Look what they did with the midfield. It was old. Suddenly look at their midfield now.
The way
Bellingham,
that
Tchouaméni, Camavinga.
It's ridiculous. You know, still got hold of Valverde, and you just still keep Kroos and Modric there just for vibes, and then they can go when they want to go. Like, it's just ridiculous. And it's the same with Barcelona. We laughed at them, you know, like I said, pulling economic levers. They're cheats. They're this, they're that, and the other. But like you said, they got shit done. They got shit done. And look at the state of us. You know, going to, and again, I mean this with the greatest respect, going to the Camp Nou without Weghorst. You know, and not losing, by the way. But, you know, look at us in the transfer market. Can't sell anyone. Scrimping, scramping. You know, getting loans with obligations to buy for people like Amrabat, who cost 20 million. You know, meanwhile, our rivals are just going out and spending the money. Arsenal just paid 105 million for Declan Rice. Chelsea, we know what Chelsea are on. Liverpool did put down 115 for Moises Caicedo. They never do that. They thought they got him, by the way. Like, they just had to get a medical and they couldn't. But the money was there. And what did they do with the money? They didn't just piss about with it. They bought Endo. They bought Gravenberch. Like, they you know, they're making power moves. Everyone's making power moves apart from us.
Even Liverpool with their stadium too. I mean, I know at the moment they're having a bit of problem because whoever was doing the work, I think the company went out of business.
But it's still going on, though. But
it's still going on. And even before that, how was it, like 4 or 5 years ago when they added that new tier onto it or whatever? Because even they realized, like, God, add stuff to it. Man City, they didn't even need to because they can't sell out anyway. They're still expanding it. They're still making it bigger because, again, that, if you've ever been there, that Etihad, it's like it is the Etihad complex. It's like housed a giant stadium, honestly, training ground, which is one of like the best training ground stadium things in the world. And again, that indoor arena, like, to the point where now it's not even, we used to, and I know it's like, oh, back in the day, but we used to have like the best facilities in minimum the UK. We don't even have best facilities in Manchester. No. At this point, no. You know, and anyone that goes to Spurs Stadium, they realize, oh my God, like it's incredible. And that's what Gary Neville was kind of suggesting, of just the sheer amount of work that needs to be done and the sheer finances of the work that needs to be done is so
it's a minimum 10 years. It's a minimum 10 years behind all the people we just said. Minimum.
Exactly. I mean, maybe this is the Glazers' point of view, that they go, we can get away with it for 2 years, maybe, but that's a risk.
Yeah, but I do. If you was to ask me, if you was to really back me into a corner and say, what do you think, Flex? I do more side towards the, like, I think they can. Yeah, it's not at their required asking price. So we'll just keep waiting a couple more years or a year, like 18 months, whatever. Just see this thing out. We don't have to make a decision yet. I don't think they're scared or being pushed into a corner where they have to, the way they go, we just have to sell this now. We're just going to have to take that. I just think they're stubborn, they're greedy, and my personal opinion is that all this noise that's happening and around them, they couldn't give a shit. They don't care. Like, they don't care about fan backlash. And even the money point of it, I get that. You know, when they're going to get this money again, these offers still stand. Like, they're still there. So they're like, right, we've got that. Let's just keep waiting and waiting and waiting. I think it's like maybe not month to month, but maybe every few months that will come back. It will just keep stalling basically. And I think they'll be happy to stall for a good year or two. Maybe in a year or two, you could say it becomes untenable. Maybe that. But I think for the next year to 18 months, I just got a feeling that they will just keep hanging on and hanging on for more.
What do you think happens? And I think it's almost to the point where this is bigger than what happens on the pitch, in fairness. But what do you think happens if this season it doesn't go good for us? You know, because, you know, like before, it was kind of like they thought that they'd maybe put it on the market because we'd had a poor season as well, in addition to everything else. And it felt like just United, just in general, had declined so much in comparison. It was like, well, we're not going to be able to get this amount of money for much longer, so we were going to have to try and sell it, sort of thing. What do you think happens if this season, like, you know, it gets bad again, sort of thing, where it's like we're 7th or 6th, all that kind of stuff. Do you think that speeds up the process, or do you think that's irrelevant to really what's going on at this point? Like, say December, we get to December and we're like, oh my God, guys, this is a long season. This ain't going.
What will they just sell? Will they just sell and go out?
Well, do you think they'd be like, actually, that whole waiting for 2 years, we might not be able to wait, sort of thing? Maybe.
That's another thing. We've got a good manager who is kind of capable of bailing them out somewhat. Like, you know what I mean? Like just doing okay and improving us, and a manager that we're really behind and a manager that we love. And we're looking forward to how we can build this squad, albeit with one hand / two hands tied behind his back under this regime. But if it goes really bad, I'm not going to expect I'm not going to expect them to, oh no, I will be back. I believe in this. They could. I'm not going to say that they couldn't. It's a good point. What do you think?
It might make them think, like I said, though, maybe that 2 years we might not be able to do. Maybe we have really run it into the ground, sort of thing. I mean, it's a bit different because obviously 5 teams can go into the Champions League next year, so they might hope that we can get one of those sort of wild card spots if you finish 5th. Maybe they'll think of that. But the problem is, I don't think that'll happen. I mentioned it on the Full View on Monday. I really do think we'll qualify for the Champions League this season. I think we'll be okay. I do. I think because, just looking at the game at the weekend and looking at the sheer amount of players we've got out injured at the moment, and we haven't played our strongest 11, I do think when we get our strongest 11 or very close to up and going, I think we'll be okay. Now, obviously, that's quite a few if, buts, and maybes, because who knows if this injury crisis is ever going to stop at United this season? Is it going to be a bit like
finish 4th though? I think we'll be around 4th or 5th though.
It could be a bit like, you remember a few seasons ago of Liverpool, where their whole season they just had everyone injured, like their whole back four was just injured for like the whole season, pretty much. That could be a problem with United. I must say, I see Martinez and Lindelof fine on international duty. And I go, why'd you come off?
I know.
I mean, they said Lindelof was ill. So you go, well, fair enough. Maybe he was just completely running to the ground. He shouldn't have been playing anyway. Martinez is fine.
I don't know. That? He said he felt pain.
In his foot.
Really? Yeah. And it's like, you never like doing this, saying,
no, you don't.
Half go. Tell you what, I got to go out to Argentina in a couple of days. I don't really fancy this.
But, I mean, when did he come off?
Because he's a warrior.
Something minute.
Yeah, it was quite early, man.
Play through.
I would have liked him to do that. I can't lie. I've got to keep the standard high. If Jadon Sancho had done that, or if Rashford had done that, we'd be on him. We'd be on him. And I my question is how bad could it have been if you literally got on a plane straight after and went to training in I don't know if it's Buenos Aires or wherever they are, but national team, foot on the ball, smiling in full training. I'm like,
That's what I was like. Again, I'll give Lindelof the benefit of the doubt because Ten Hag's like he was ill. Basically, sort of saying he had to come in the game. He was.
And he come off the last 10 minutes.
And if you watch the game, you could see by the end, Lindelof was really struggling, really struggling. So you go, well, okay, I'll give you benefit of the doubt with that one. But I saw the Martinez one, and then after the game, Peachy goes up, just walked past. He's always on the team news. He said, Martinez is fine. He's walked out. He's gone on an international shoot with Garnacho, and I thought, oh, all right, I guess kind of like recovery. He might play one game, maybe the later game or something like that. And then you see the picture of him in training.
He's fine. He's fine, mate. And that's what I mean.
Why'd you come off?
Yeah. And the way he came off as well, like he took his boot off and was like, nah, I'm done. Like, oh, fucking hell.
Well, and it's also...
But that's why I went, oh, no, here we go. Because Leeds ain't going to stay down. He ain't going to do that.
That's what I thought. And it's in the game against Wolves, when he came off at half-time, obviously some were saying, oh, it was because of the booking. But Varane then did an interview afterwards, said, oh, no, he felt his foot a bit, tendon in his foot. And everyone went, oh, well, fair enough, no problem. But then when he's on international duty, fine. It's like...
Dwayne Rogers says Martinez may have been worried it was the same foot, the fracture as last season.
Which is fine. But then
he ain't worried now, is he?
No.
He ain't worried now. And I bet you bloody play a lot of minutes as well.
Yeah.
So Marcus, been a member for 4 months, says, how much more of this roller coaster takeover are we going to have? Who knows, Marcus? I wish I really knew. I wish we really knew. Believer of Man United FC says, I want Arsenal in the FA Cup or Carabao Cup or the Champions League with our strongest 11. Wants revenge. And that's your first super chat as well. Believer, big up to you. And Matifalu says, off-field crap, on-field crap. Winter is coming. Also, I have to say, there's over 2,000 people watching live, by the way. I'm only at 250 likes.
Oh,
come on, guys.
ooh.
We can double that instantly. I mean, with 2K watching live, 500 we can definitely do. So yeah, drop a like for the video. Drop a like for hoping the Glazers sell. I don't know. Drop a like for Wednesday morning, and you know, you just want to help out the channel. Drop
Hey,
a like.
Flex, did you get swept up in the Amrabat stuff yesterday?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
and I think what needs to be call it out. Yeah, I think what needs to be pointed out was that, and this sums up sort of United media at the moment. Yeah, is that everything was getting announced, and in the morning you get the stuff through. Amrabat's got a back injury, and people were going, he's out for 6 weeks. By the end of the day, he's not injured. He's gone on international duty with Morocco. The disparity that came from the Athletic. I mean, not the 6 weeks thing, but they said minor back injury. That came from the Athletic, and then by the end of the day, he's not injured. He's going on international duty.
But the minor back injury, though, to be fair to the Athletic, because I lost my shit when I saw that, but it was that minor that there was a bit of pain. You know, he went training and he was fine. Going to go on international duty, do some more training, maybe get some. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean the Athletic were lying, but that one that said about potentially 6 weeks, and that's the thing about Man United on social media. It sells. It sells. If you get, and that's why I was annoyed about the Jadon Sancho thing and Eric Ten Hag thing, because it just gave a reason. It gave ammunition for us to be used. You know, for the clicks and the shares and the interest and the engagement. And you know, the Amrabat situation, I was like, another thing, remember when I say that if it's things that we can believe, instantly it just puts you in a negative. So it's like, we just bought Højlund with that same situation. It would be like us to do that. Everyone's injured. Let's just add another one, but we can't catch a break. You know, and then it goes to Leach is fine, Amrabat's fine, Højlund's got an international duty, he's fine. Like, then it starts easing. Luke Shaw's travelled with England to, you know, carry on his rehab, you know, to just be with the boys, whatever. He's going to be out for a long time, so I don't mind that. It just changes. But
I did think it was weird. Like, I thought when it came out, the odds of Man United signing 2 players and they discover 2 back injuries, previously non-disclosed back injuries in medicals from Italy. I was like, what's going on in Italy with these players we're signing? I mean, could you imagine? Oh.
Also, I don't think we really spoke about this actually, so it'll probably be just quick to do it now. We have got the confirmation from Andre Onana now, actually. Yes. Yeah. So depending on how Cameroon do in the Africa Cup of Nations, it could be like 4 to 6 weeks. If they go to
same with Amrabat.
You know, same with Amrabat. So interesting. Again, I don't ever see it as like, oh, for God's sake, now they're gone. Look, you buy African players. That is what it is. Do I wish that the African Cup of Nations could have been at a different time of the year? Yeah, but at the end of the day, that is when that federation has their tournament. It's always been that. So don't you buy players and start moaning about it. That is what it is. Those players got every right to go and do it, to go and represent their countries. And good luck to them. I'll be watching it. But it does. You know, it does reinforce why we need more options. You know, all of a sudden we were saying, oh, whatever, man, Bayern coming in as a keeper, like whatever, we don't really care. Well, actually, for that 4 to 6 weeks in January to whenever, he's going to play, or Tom Heaton's going to play, like one or the other. Like they need to be good, and he needs to be up to speed with how we play. You know, who do we have in January actually? Just out of curiosity.
Whilst you look as well, I was sort of I had questioned before with Onana. I was like, how much did United know? Surely they would know, sort of thing. And Ten Hag was asked about that in the press conference, and he said, "Oh, we spoke about it before we even signed him." You know, so and that's good. That's good, because it wouldn't shock you with United, would it? Of like, no, we had no idea he was going to come out, but at the same time, they knew before signing him. Like you said, when it comes to signing an African player, it's always going to be most likely what happens. So what have we got?
So the AFCON starts from January the 13th and goes on to, obviously, if you get to the final, February the 11th. So if we go to our fixtures from January the 13th, but obviously they've got to be there before. So actually, there's that little break thing, isn't there?
That sort of weird Premier League.
Because actually, normally like New Year's Day and stuff, we'd have games and all, but now we don't play in the Premier League until the 13th of January, which is our last game of the year is the 30th. against Forest, or is there FA Cup early in January?
FA Cup's early in January. I think
Right.
that probably won't
Right.
be announced. I know there's
Right.
like a week.
So,
there's like a week, and the way
week.
they do it is they alternate, don't they? They have some sides play 1 week.
Yeah.
Week you're off, and they're back
exactly.
on.
So there's that to factor in, but there's obviously going to be an FA Cup tie as well. But Man United, he's going to miss Tottenham at home. That's on the 13th. That's the day the AFCON starts. He's going to miss Wolves away. He's and the 3rd of Feb. When did I say it goes on to 11th?
Yeah,
of Feb. 11th of Feb. So 3rd of Feb is West Ham home. If he gets to the final, he might miss Aston Villa away as well. And then the 17th of Feb, we've got Luton Town. Yeah, some tough games. There's some tough ones. And then whatever cup games are in that as well. I don't know if it's Carabao Cup as well. When does Champions League come back? Probably February, doesn't it?
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. I mean, look, when Liverpool, when they had Mane and Salah there, they both went. You know what I mean?
They dealt with it every year.
You know what I mean? And they dealt with it. I mean, what was crazy about Mane and Salah, wasn't it, is that I think Salah in particular went out and he was back playing for Liverpool like 2 days later. It was it was insane. Yeah. So look, sometimes you never know. Like with anything with tournament football, you would expect a side like Cameroon to go quite far. They might not. They might not. It might not be.
Yeah, they might go out in the groups. Who knows?
You might be there for a week or something like that, right?
Exactly. So, you just don't know. But also, it's like for our selfishness, we'll be like, oh, I hope Cameroon go out early, you know. But you know, you kind of want him coming back on a high, buzzing. Hopefully, they win the bloody thing, and he comes back on top of the world, ready to go again. But I know selfishly, we'll be like, no, don't wish that, Flex. I wish he comes back as early as possible. But it is what it is. Also, Rasmus Højlund and Garnacho nominated for Golden Boy awards. I just wanted to talk about them actually. As young players, you know, Garnacho. Every time he goes back to Impact sub, it's just supposed to be that right now, isn't he?
He nearly had his moment, didn't he? He nearly had his moment.
And that would have been, you know how Garnacho is as well. Yeah, like not the arrogance, because I like it in him. But you know how he feels about himself, how confident he is. If he got that winner, we saw the celebrations because we thought we'd won. I mean, it would have just been brilliant for him to, win us a big game on the road, finally to win away against a big six team, at Arsenal at that, one of the best teams in the league. It just would have been the story, but it just shows you though, when teams are tired, when Man United need that option off the bench, he's the best we've got.
Here's one.
The game.
Here's one with Garnacho, yeah?
Yeah.
So when he came on at the weekend, what position did he play, Flex?
It was left, wasn't it?
It was not. It was on the right.
Oh,
it was on the right because you had Rashford on the left, you had Højlund through the middle, and you had Garnacho on the right.
Because he made the run from central, it was weird.
Is there any way that you look at that and you go, that's a possibility moving forward. That's a possibility moving forward. You've got your front three is Rashford, Højlund, Garnacho. Thoughts in the chat and thoughts of Fleck.
Lil Yo-Yo gives it the eyes. I'm, after one game, not going to start getting into answers to the right-hand side because the right-hand side is effed at the moment. There's a lot going on. Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah. Maybe, but I just think with Garnacho, and this is my honest opinion, I love the kid. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to be fantastic as he grows. I do think we just need to be steady with him. I don't think he's as good as we think he is at this moment in time. He's got a bright future. I think he's got the perfect manager to help him. And every time we need impact from him, he's coming on in big games and either winning us them or contributing to them. And there's a little bit of a way to go with when he starts. And that's fine. How old is he? 19 now? Something like that? Is he still 18? I don't even know.
Yeah.
You know, he's so young. And I'm so excited to see how he develops. But I just want us to just peel it back a bit. You know, obviously with Mason Greenwood, he's gone now. But in terms of being a generational talent, he was that. I don't think Garnacho's as good as that yet in this period. But he's a different type of player. And we have to just be patient with him. Right-hand side, look, he tried it a couple of times last year and it didn't work out. I'm not saying it's never going to work out. But, he tried it a couple of times last year and he was ineffective. So I just want to keep seeing him coming from the bench. You know, there's going to be times where he's going to have to change that. Of course, we're going to have to see him start. That's a challenge for him. There should be another game, maybe in the Carabao Cup against Crystal Palace or something like that. Start him. Like, he has to get used to it. You got to throw him in the deep end, and it's, sink or swim, isn't it? Like, you got to keep, just because you've been poor starting games doesn't mean it's going to be like that forever. We've got to drip feed you in and try and get you up a level. So, but on the right hand side, why not? Because with Højlund, what we do know, it's going to be a different dynamic, man.
Well, I'm thinking about Garnacho, and I know what you're saying, because it's clear, obviously, he's better off the bench at this point. But if Garnacho's looking for a regular run in the team, consecutive games, it's not a left wing, because Marcus Rashford would have to be injured or suspended for him to get a regular run in the team at left wing, or striker crisis again, and Rashford has to go up front. And now that's even more sort of crisis, because that would mean two strikers would be injured.
That's why Ten Hag's probably done it. That's why, because like you said, he ain't going to get much opportunities there, because he'd either have to take Rashford off, which ain't happening in many games.
Exactly.
And
so I'm thinking, if he's going to have that run, he might be looking at going on the right. It might have to be on the right hand side, and again, you never know. You never know. That might be an option. I think the Golden Boy thing is actually quite hilarious as well, because have you seen the Taylor Swift part of this?
No.
So the story goes like this. Okay. So Alejandro Balde, who is a Barcelona player, he was leading the Golden Boy Award votes until a quote came out that said that he didn't like Taylor Swift. Right. So now Taylor Swift fans are coming out and trying to get Jude Bellingham to win.
Oh, piss off.
And they are like bitter, and I mean, they are crazy. Okay.
That is so stupid.
But it's a thing.
How can that be a real life thing?
Type it in. Taylor Swift is interview. Imagine.
Yeah, she's on an interview.
She's influencing. That's the word I'm looking for. The fans, the Swifties, are going to decide.
I was going to say, what are they called? Swifters. Oh, Swifties. Okay.
I have no idea. But I saw the only reason I saw this because I was scrolling through the timeline and I had to sort of remind myself Taylor Swift was. So I went, okay. But apparently that's the problem. Is Balde came out and sort of said, no, I don't really like Taylor Swift. Error on his part. Jude Bellingham's going to win. And they're nuts. I've been scrolling through like Instagram stuff before, and they're trying to say that like Taylor Swift's better than Michael Jackson.
Oh,
like,
shut up.
A better dancer. That was it. A better dancer. You know that was that video of her doing that, and everyone said she looked like Erling Haaland waiting for a corner because she sort of bouncing like this. And their fans had the nerve to be like, it's better than dancing than Michael Jackson. And everyone's like, these people are crazy. I don't know. The moment I saw that, and then I saw this morning, I went, they'll do it. They'll make sure. Jude Bellingham should win.
Laughing. Steph's laughing. Lil Yo-Yo's like nonsense. David Aries is like, honestly, Taylor Swift crap. What kind of stupidness is that? Honestly, the internet never.
Jude Bellingham should win.
Oh, absolutely. He's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Imagine he came round. Jude Bellingham walks around. What's training ground called again? Forgot.
Carrington.
Jude Bellingham walked around Carrington and went, nah, not for me. Look at him now.
Alex. Do you know what, though? He made the right decision.
Oh, of course he did. Listen, he would have been flipping stifled at Man United.
Under 23.
Glad. 100%.
Jude Bellingham under 23. We'd be discussing how do we get Jude Bellingham into this side at the moment. We're going, could he be, I don't know, what position could he be? Is there any chance we could play Jude Bellingham up front at the moment? Yeah. They'd be talking about that, honestly. He wouldn't have got the opportunities. And honestly, you forget how young he is as well. When you watch him play, he's a man. Yeah. Like he is proper. It's in that clip of him getting angry with the Getafe player and they're trying to rile him up. And he like grits his teeth at him. Oh, terrified.
No, he's powerful. He's powerful. I mean, at the World Cup was the first time I seen him play live. And I was like, this guy's going to be the real deal, actually. He's proper. He is proper. Lil Yo-Yo says, thank you for the super chat. Lil Yo-Yo says, we signed Andrew Tate as our new central defensive midfielder. Everyone saying Amrabat looks like Andrew Tate. Fine, Andrew Tate, idiot. Lil Yo-Yo says, can we play with 0 right wingers, please? Trouble arises. Yeah, well, we need something to start happening correctly, don't we? Kristen says, Højlund Palestri is the new Son and Kane. Hope so, mate. Bloody hell.
The biggest was the goal scoring combination ever in Premier League history.
More than York and Cole, mate. And Sahar says, Garnacho, Højlund Palestri would be the most effective without English bias. Drop Rashi.
Well, this is where it gets weird, isn't it? Because, I mean, that's always the opposite of English bias, because you're saying no English players involved in the front three there. And like, it's like...
Yeah.
Marcus
but he's saying
Rashford,
drop the English bias, saying that Marcus Rashford should be in it because he's English.
He should be in it, though.
Yeah.
He scored the most goals for us last season.
Yeah. Rashi does... I've never seen a player divide as much as Rashi. Well, I have actually. I've seen others. But it is weird with Rashi just to finish off, because it's like... He does things in the game that annoy fans, where you're like, his game needs to kick on and stuff. But when you talk about X factor moments and affecting the game, and when no one else is scoring, who is? You can't talk to Rashi.
Well, even at the week, like, this is what's crazy with him too, isn't it? So he scored at the weekend.
Yeah,
he'd near enough got an assist when he put Ben White down and Højlund tried to do the Cruyff thing or whatever. But the thing people are talking the most about him is the pass that he didn't do to Højlund and putting him through. And I think that kind of maybe sums up Marcus Rashford, is sometimes it's about what he doesn't do as opposed to what he does, And I'm not sitting here and saying Marcus Rashford's a complete player and all that kind of stuff. And definitely playing with Højlund up front, he's got as a winger, I know that sometimes Marcus Rashford is so like tunnel vision, hero, I'm going to score the goal. But either Ten Hag or someone's got to say to him, look, you've got a striker now that's willing to make runs. You've got to find him in those instances, and he needs to do that. But what we also can't ignore is, again, what he did last season. And also, sums up Marcus Rashford too. For the first few games of this season, let's be honest, he was shit. He was rubbish. He didn't do anything in those games when he was playing up front, not on the left. Granted, you can see why now. Don't want to see him up front again. Throwing his hands up in the air and all that kind of stuff. Going, body language was bad. But you saw it against Arsenal that he can't just come alive.
And let's not act.
Come alive.
I'll be honest. People might not agree with this, but I'll say I don't care. It's my opinion. Let's not act like Rashi isn't better than Garnacho. Don't start being like, Garnacho should start every game. He's better than Rashford. Rashford just keeps losing the ball, because we've seen a little taste of when Garnacho has to start. He's been dreadful from the start. Let's just be, and that's not me cussing him, because he's young and he's just not ready. So let's not do this like, he's better than Rashford, because he's not. He's not better than Rashford yet. Do you know what I mean? He's not better than Rashi. So, Garnacho's place right now is coming on and impacting the game, and he does a flipping good job at it. He's the best in our squad. Jadon Sancho doesn't really come off the bench and impact the game. Pellistri can a little bit, but not how Garnacho is our biggest impact player. He's got a massive role to play. Defenders don't want to see Garnacho come onto the pitch in the 70th minute, in the 75th minute. That is bad. Semedo found that out last year, when he was knackered, and then he comes through and does that. Arsenal nearly found it out. They were not tired, but it's late in the game and you got runners now. He scores, So even though it's disallowed. So we've seen that be a thing, But from the start, he's still not there yet. So let's just not hype up, players and just forget players who actually are doing things, for us at a high level. Rashford's a senior player. Rashford goes past people like they're not there. Yes, he does frustrate me. Of course he does. I'm not saying that he doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying that. But let's not act like Rashi's just any guy and like he's not a top player, because he is. In my opinion, anyway. Yeah. And there you have it, Owen. It's the end of the show.
Yes, indeed. End of the show. So if you haven't already, be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Plenty of content on the horizon. Any more news, we'll be back very, very soon. We're out of here. Peace.